the world continues to fight the rapid spread of coronavirus, confining many people to their homes and radically altering the way we move through, work in, and think about our cities, some are wondering what life might look like on the other side. At the moment, we are reducing density everywhere we can, and for good reason, observes Richard Sennett, a professor of urban studies at MIT and senior advisor to the UN on its climate change and city program. But on the whole, density is a good thing. Denser cities are more energy efficient. So we think in the long term there is going to be a conflict between competing demands of public health and the climate. Richard believes that in the future there will be a renewed focus on finding design solutions for individual buildings and wider neighborhoods that enable people to socialize without being packed into compressed restaurants, bars, and clubs. Although, given the incredibly high cost of land in big cities like New York and Hong Kong, success here may depend on significant economic reforms as well. In recent years, although some cities continue to grow as a result of inward rural migration, in certain cities the trend is in the opposite direction, with more affluent residents taking advantage of remote working capabilities and moving to smaller towns and countryside settlements offering cheaper property and a higher quality of life. The declining cost of distance, as Karen Harris, the managing director of Bain Consultancy's Macro Trends Group calls it, is likely to accelerate as a result of coronavirus crisis. More companies are establishing systems that enable staff to work from home, and more workers are getting accustomed to it. These are habits that are likely to persist, Harris says. Another potential impact of coronavirus may be an intensification of digital infrastructure in our cities. South Korea, one of the countries worst affected by the disease, has also posted some of the lowest mortality rates, an achievement that can be traced in part to a series of technological innovations. In China, authorities have enlisted the help of tech firms such as Alibaba to track the spread of COVID-19 and are using big data analysis to anticipate where transmission clusters will emerge next. If one of the government takeaways from coronavirus is that smart cities are safer cities from a public health perspective, then we can expect greater efforts to digitally capture and record the behavior in urban areas. If we go back through history and look at regulations brought in to control cities at times of crisis, from French Revolution to 9/11 in the US, many of them took years or even centuries to unravel. At a time of ethnic nationalism on the global stage, in which right-wing populists have assumed elected office in many countries from Brazil to the US and India, one consequence of coronavirus could be an entrenchment of exclusionary political narratives calling for new borders to be placed around urban communities overseen by leaders who have the legal and technological capacity and political will to build them. On the ground, however, the story of coronavirus in many global cities has so far been very different. Social distancing has ironically drawn some of us closer than ever before. Whether such groups survive beyond the end of coronavirus to have a meaningful impact on our urban future depends in part on what sort of political lessons we learn from the crisis. The vulnerability of many fellow city dwellers, not just because of a temporary medical emergency, but as an ongoing lived reality, has been thrown into sharp relief. From elderly people lacking sufficient social care to low-paid and self-employed who have no financial buffer to fall back on. Private hospitals are already facing pressure to open up their beds without extra charges for those in need in Los Angeles. Homeless citizens have seized vacant homes, drawing support from some lawmakers. Will these kind of sentiments dwindle with the passing of coronavirus, or will political support for urban policies that put community interest ahead of corporate ones? We don't yet know the answer. But in the new and unpredictable connections swiftly being forged within our cities as a result of the pandemic, there is perhaps some cause for optimism. You can't unknow people, and usually that's a good thing. We are potentially seeing a fundamental shift in urban social relations. City residents are becoming more aware of their desires that they didn't realize before. We all know COVID-19 could radically alter our urban life. If you have any different viewpoint, please let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.